Arsenal drop more points in the title race as VAR once again takes centre stage in the game between Arsenal and Brighton. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to another video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the 1-1 draw that just played out at the Amex Stadium between Brighton and Arsenal. The game is surrounded in chaos and controversy regarding a second half penalty that was awarded to Brighton from a foul from William Saliba on Brighton striker Joao Pedro, a mistimed header that caught the Brighton striker, and the referee pointed to the spot and there was no overturn from VAR as Pedro himself then stepped up, converted from 12 yards and helped rescue a point for the Seagulls. We're going to be talking about the game, we're going to be talking about the controversy, we're going to be talking about the performance from Arsenal most of all, and of course the result that leaves Arsenal still 5 points behind league leaders Liverpool, with a massive opportunity for the Reds tomorrow to of course extend their lead at the top of the table over Arsenal if they can beat Manchester United of course, and much more. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. So please do get involved as well with all of that. It'll be greatly appreciated. Get involved with your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, about this topic, about Arsenal, about Brighton, about the controversy and the title race and anything else that you've got to throw at us. I'm sure it'll make for great and interesting reading. So please do use and abuse that comment section, people. Right. Now that that's out of the way and done with, let's get on with the video. Let's talk Arsenal, let's talk Brighton, let's talk the 1-1 draw, the controversy, and where that leaves Arsenal in the table. So, it finished after 90 odd minutes. Brighton won, Arsenal won. Arsenal took the lead in the first half through young wonder kid, Ethan Nwaneri. Fine finish. I think the goalkeeper probably should have done better, but I think the way he strikes the ball early, catches the goalkeeper out, and it's a fantastic goal by the young kid, and he's of course got a fantastically bright future ahead of him. Controlled the game from there a little bit than Arsenal. Second half though, different story. A few changes are made by both sets of teams, and Brighton take a bit more of control. And it was actually interesting watching Arsenal, how they just didn't look sharp. They didn't look sharp going forward. They didn't have that cutting edge about them that we've become accustomed to seeing with Arsenal over the past few years. There was nothing there, and Brighton were getting a little bit of joy on the counter-attack. Just the final ball was just not quite connecting. But they were getting more and more adventurous as the second half wore on. And then the controversy hits. And that's where we're going to start off with things here. We're going to talk about the controversy. Joao Pedro received the ball in the penalty area. He kind of controls it. He tries to juggle with the ball a little bit to try and keep it. Ball goes head height. He manages to head it. He flicks it onto the head, actually, of William Saliba. Saliba's going for the ball. He's going for the ball with his head. He mistimes his header. It's a bit of a headbutt, and he headbutts Pedro onto the ground. Referee points to the spot. VAR does not interfere. Goes with the on-field decision of the referee. Joao Pedro himself steps up, converts from 12 yards, and as I said earlier, rescues a point for the Seagulls. Now, my honest opinion is, it's a penalty. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans. I know this is going to be another exhibit to add to the collection of evidence that you guys are seemingly bringing together for whatever case is going to be at the end of the season, for whoever wins the Premier League title. This is why Arsenal didn't win it, because of Exhibit A against Brighton earlier on in the season, Exhibit B against Newcastle, Exhibit C against whoever this team and that team, and then another one to add to the collection seemingly today. But honestly, I think the referee got it right. And it's harsh. It's a little soft, I will admit. But it's right. I'm sorry to say, but the penalty decision is a definite penalty decision. And it's a unique one because I don't necessarily think anything like this has ever happened before. But, like I say, I think the decision is right. And the reason why I say that the decision is right is because, for me, Joao Pedro is in control of the ball. Joao Pedro is in control of the ball, and if Saliba obviously doesn't make contact with him, Pedro's pretty much got some sort of opportunity on goal. Chance to shoot, opportunity to play in a teammate, work his way towards goal just a little bit closer, whatever it may be. I think, as unlucky as it is, there is an element of unfortunately about it from Saliba's point of view. But I do honestly think it's a penalty. And I'm not saying that as a Liverpool fan that was obviously extremely happy to see Arsenal drop points today, but I am saying it as a football fan. I do feel sorry for Arsenal because it's one of those ones where if it's given against you, you're fuming, and I can understand the rage and the frustration that must come from Arsenal fans tonight, most of them anyway, from this situation playing out. But for me, Saliba arrived late. I know that 9 times out of 10, most of these things end in a drop ball, but 9 times out of 10, they're a 50-50 in the air. This one wasn't necessarily a 50-50. The past few touches that Joao Pedro had indicated, to me at least, that Pedro was somewhat in control of the ball, and that's why when Saliba does make the challenge that he does, and clashes with him, and people will say, well, he made contact with the ball, only because Pedro's header flicks off of him. He misses the ball. It's only because of Joao Pedro's header that the ball actually does flick off Saliba. That's where I think the foul lies. I think it was the right decision. I can understand the fume and the rage of certain Arsenal fans tonight. Certain ones on Twitter, again, going at the PGMOL, going at the FA, going at the Premier League, going at certain referees. I understand the rage and the frustration. I understand that it's a very unique situation as well. You never really see this. But again, if this happens anywhere else, I think it's a foul. I understand. And like I say, I think the thing that differentiates this from a normal sort of 50-50 header is exactly that. When a long ball goes up from a goal kick and two players challenge and one goes through the back of someone with their head challenging for the ball, it's a 50-50. Joao Pedro, not necessarily in a 50-50, because not only does he get to the ball first, he's also in control of the ball before it gets to head height. I don't see the fume. I don't really see. I see the fume. I don't necessarily see why that would be overturned, especially when you consider the clear and obvious sort of ruling that that rule creates, with a huge grey area that, of course, referees and VAR officials have exploited a lot out of since, of course, that ruling has come in. I understand the fume of Arsenal fans, but like I say, I think the decision was the right one from the referee. However, don't in any way, shape or form, whether you're a rival fan, whether you're a neutral fan, whether you're an actual Arsenal fan itself, let the VAR decision, the referee controversy, the penalty controversy, cloud your judgment or distract you from what was a poor display from Arsenal in general. Now, I'll say this, for the past few weeks, barring the odd exceptions, maybe barring Brentford, for example, maybe barring West Ham, for example, several weeks ago, maybe barring, I think there was another result in there as well that Arsenal performed very well in. I don't think Arsenal have been anywhere near their scintillating best this season. They've had some bright sparks, they've had some bright moments here and there, they've had a few games that have been very good, but I don't think they've been anywhere near the best that they've shown this season. And again, dropping points to Brighton. They've already dropped points across the Christmas and festive period to the likes of Everton, to the likes of Fulham. Dropped points earlier on in the season. Lost to Newcastle. Drew to Brighton. Again, don't let it distract you from what was a very poor Arsenal performance. Like I say, they seem toothless in the attacking third. They seem so slow, so lethargic. Half the time they just seem like they're out of ideas, and unless obviously their main attacking threat comes from a set piece, a corner mainly, they just seem like they're out of ideas. I don't want to obviously speak about Liverpool, because I don't want to speak too soon about them, I'm purely talking at this from a neutral perspective. I've not been impressed with Arsenal for a good few weeks now. Yes, they picked up a few good results here and there. Brentford result was very, very good, for example. But there is moments of controversy just dotted around. More controversy. Moments of inconsistency and complacency dotted around in the past few months of results that has signalled to me that this Arsenal side are somewhat struggling. They struggle seemingly from open play. Like I say, unless it's a set piece, they don't really have a clue of how to break teams down. And Brighton aren't exactly the most defensively tight machine you're ever going to face, but I don't really remember them slicing Brighton apart or, forcing the goalkeeper into making a few fine saves to keep Brighton in the game. They honestly did not, to me, seem like the same level of Arsenal that we have known them to be for the past several weeks. It just seems very, very strange to me that would be the case. But I also think, like Arsenal fans, certain ones have a part to play in this as well. Because don't get me wrong, the players on the pitch were poor today. Some of them have been poor for a few weeks. Some of them haven't quite lived up to expectations that have been set with them this season. Maybe some of them have actually performed below their usual standards. That's on the players. Maybe you can look at the manager as well. Maybe you can look at the manager. Some may say he's taken them as far as he can go. Some question his team selections. Some question some of the decisions he's making in his tactical approaches to games. I get that. You can maybe look at the board and say, well, you didn't pull your finger out enough in the summer. You didn't push the boat out enough in the summer for us to be better equipped to actually win the title just in case Man City dropped off, as they have done. Obviously, Liverpool have stepped up big time this season, but really, Arsenal should be a lot closer than 5 points adrift of the current league leaders. But I also think the fans have got something to play in this as well. And I don't paint every fan with the same brush, but a lot of them on social media seem to be looking too far ahead of themselves. A lot of them seem to be. And maybe, I don't know how much obviously players read on social media and things like that, but maybe that sinks through to the dressing room at some point. Because a lot of Arsenal fans, this season especially, have been seemingly more focused on the likes of Liverpool, for example, than they have their own team. I remember when Liverpool were just scraping for a couple of games, not exactly being at their best, but doing enough to win certain games and going, this Liverpool team will drop points soon. This Liverpool team will drop points soon. No mention of Arsenal maybe not being at their best either and scraping through games, but more focused on Liverpool and the way that obviously they are chasing Liverpool at the top of the table. I think Arsenal fans have problems closer to home that certain Arsenal fans are not either prepared to admit or are completely overlooking. And obviously, like I say, I don't want to speak too soon about Arsenal. I think they're still a fantastic side. I think that there are some blips in the road. They've got a Carabao Cup semi-final this week, so at least they've got an opportunity, and a big opportunity at that, for some sort of silverware this season. Even though many people will probably laugh at the idea of a Carabao Cup, it is still a trophy, and still a decent trophy to win at that. I just think certain Arsenal fans are looking way too far ahead of themselves. I think some are overlooking certain problems at the football club. Some have got their hopes more on Liverpool failing, seemingly, than Arsenal succeeding. But of course, that should not affect player performance. That should not affect managerial performance. And what we saw today was a poor display from Arsenal in general, from front to back, back to front, manager, coaches, whoever else. Not even their set pieces were particularly great today. some of their set pieces were actually pretty poor today. So Brighton did catch a little bit of a break from that. But again, if you're relying on set pieces, as much as it is obviously a handy tool to have in your, well, arsenal, you know, you obviously have to be on them and on form with them right from the off every single game. And they weren't today. And they did struggle to break down this Brighton side. And full credit to Brighton, by the way. Not taking anything away from Brighton. I think attacking-wise, again, they were a little bit blunt themselves. Like I say, sometimes the final pass, the final ball, even sometimes their shooting was a bit wild today. But setup-wise and structure-wise, I thought they were pretty fine in stopping Arsenal from really, really hurting them and penetrating them. And like I say, I think they were worthy of probably getting a point in the end. Even though, like I say, it was in somewhat controversial circumstances. But those are my thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on tonight's game between Brighton and Arsenal that finished 1-1 at the Amex Stadium in somewhat controversial fashion, thanks to a Joao Pedro penalty that rescued a point for the Seagulls. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling about this. I'm sure it's a very divisive and very intriguing, opinionated topic. So your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it from you guys, I'm sure will make for great interest in reading, I'm sure, down below in the comments section. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. Thank you all for your brand new or even continued support. If you are brand new, welcome along to the journey. Welcome along to the channel. Hope you are settling in well, my friend. Thank you all. Very much appreciated. Never be taken for granted. You guys are awesome. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. Speak to you all again very, very soon.